So welcome, ladies and gents, to my course on historical semantics. What is it about? It's about how words change their meanings over time. And we all know that this is the case, that a word may have meant something completely different 500 years ago. Okay? It may have changed its meaning entirely, okay, even to the opposite. Probably narrowed its meaning, widened it, broadened it, something like that. And this is what the course will be about, and how we theoretically analyze this sort of change, or semantic change, we call it. And you all know that you may read an old text, probably 500 years ago, then apply the meaning you're used to a certain word, and this doesn't quite make sense. And this is an indication that the word most certainly meant something else 500 years ago. And I would like to demonstrate that by regarding one of the most frequent words of the English language, this one here, the word, here we go, nice. Okay, nice. A very prominent example of semantic change. So nice. What does it mean today? I mean, that's easy. You just go to any dictionary you may like. I mean, this is Collins' dictionary. I just looked up the adjective nice, and there you see, if you say that something is nice, you mean that you find it attractive, pleasant, enjoyable. Okay? Or if you say, you may apply this to a person who's friendly and pleasant. So yes, it's a positive meaning. Mostly pleasant, and then certain nuances and words associated with that. Okay, but this was not always the case. Okay, this is a text which is comparatively old. Okay, Chaucer's Reeve's Tale, dating back to the 14th century, and there the word nice appears. Spelling doesn't matter. Spelled with a Y, but then again, it's the same word. I would like to briefly regard that here. The situation is the following. It's in the Reeve's Tale, and there is a struggle between a miller and two students, and then this happens. And up they gone, and doon again anon, till that the miller spawned at a stone, and doon he fell backward upon his weave, that wist no thing of this niece's strife. The situation is the following, that there is the room is dark, the miller's wife is lying on her bed, and then the miller fights with the two students who are in the same room, okay, because as a matter of fact they slept with his daughter and his wife respectively. And Chaucer calls this sort of struggle a nice strife, a nice strife, okay. You are aware what the word strife means today, struggle and so on. Disagreement, I looked that up too, angry disagreement. But if you apply here this nice strife, nice to this angry disagreement, it doesn't make quite sense. How can an angry disagreement be pleasant? A pleasant, angry disagreement. It's oxymoronic. Okay, it is. But this sort of tale doesn't make sense. I mean, there are no oxymora in there. And so nice must have had another meaning. And probably a negative meaning back then, because if you couple it with angry strife, or with strife or angry disagreement, then it must have a negative meaning. And this is exactly the meaning it had back then. Okay. First of all, what we can learn here, we have to look at the context, and the context of this nice strife. It's the Reeve's Tale. It's a fabliau. A fabliau is a story about sex and scatology. It's comedy. It's comic. Two students fight over the miller's daughter and his wife. It's all meant to be very entertaining and laughable. And so the meaning we should probably apply to nice there, nice strife, is a foolish struggle, a foolish disagreement. Oh, this is exactly what it was. It was foolish. So question is, I mean, did nice mean foolish? something like that. So not at all pleasant as well, the meaning we have today. But let's regard another text. This is Shakespeare, Romeo and Juliet. Okay, and there you have the line, the letters were not nice, but of great weight. Okay. Great weight means they were very important, those letters. Okay, full of depth and sophistication, probably something like that. And we know, of course, in Romeo and Juliet, the importance of the letters, particularly Friar Lawrence's letter. If Romeo had received it, well, the story would have, of course, ended happily. It would have. So, letters of great weight. Okay. And then, if you say the letters were not nice, the letters were not pleasant, but very important, that doesn't make sense. Okay. And here again, so a great weight, important, so nice must have a negative connotation here. So something like unimportant, foolish. So if you say the letters were not unimportant, they were of great weight. Yes, this makes sense. Okay. So yeah, a meaning which would probably go more to the direction of Chaucer. Okay. More that. Jane Austen, Northanger Abbey. Okay. 200 years later still. There you have this sort of dialogue between Catherine and Henry, and Catherine says, I'm sure I did not mean to say anything wrong, but it's a nice book. Why should not I call it so? And then Henry replies, very true. And this is a very nice day, and we are taking a very nice walk, and you are two very nice young ladies. Oh, it's a very nice word indeed. It does for everything. Originally, perhaps, it was applied only to express neatness, propriety, delicacy, or refinement. People were nice in their dress, in their sentiments, or their choice. But now every commendation on every subject is comprised in that one word. So what Henry says here, it referred to neatness, propriety, delicacy, refinement. You see, this is more the direction of meaning we have today of nice, okay? But then he says, well, but this is not the case anymore. The fact is, 200 years ago, nice must have become more or less the empty signifier we have today. I mean, today everything is nice. And you particularly, I mean, you can spot people who have a basic command of English language. I mean, nice seems to be their only qualifier. Okay. So how was your day? Oh, it was nice. How was dinner? That was nice. Okay. All that. So today it's hollow, but it is, of course, positive. Okay. It's positive. In Shakespeare and Chaucer, it wasn't. Okay, one more. George Gershwin. Okay, 1937. Song by George Gershwin, famous American composer of musicals and serious music as well. Holding hands at midnight, 'neath a starry sky. Nice work if you can get it, and you can get it if you try. Nice work. Okay, nice work if you can get it, and you can get it if you try. So, very romantic. Okay, holding hands, and if you achieve that under a starry sky, it's nice work, good work, pleasant work. Okay, so yes, the meaning we have today. All right, so nice must have changed its meaning from something like stupid, foolish, to pleasant. And we call this an amelioration. Okay, the meaning got better in the course of time. And if we regard the etymology of nice, this in a way corroborates the fact that once it meant something completely different, because it derives ultimately from Latin nescius, or nescius, however you want to pronounce it, okay, which meant ignorant, not knowing, yeah? Yeah? For those of you who know Latin, scire means knowing, okay, and ni is the negation, not knowing, ignorant. This is what it means, and then it, well, came into French, of course, yeah? And this nice, nice, was then later on taken into Middle English, and then went all the way it did. The question is, and this is a question we should always tackle, why and how? Yeah? How did this happen? And we can only surmise, of course. Yeah? We may guess, but it must have meant foolish in the beginning, and then probably turning into something like foolish. How can you apply foolish? Make it more positive. Well, something like naive, okay, shy even. Well, not knowing, a bit naive. Probably applied to a girl. Well, could be in those very chauvinistic times. Shy, yeah, dainty, something like this. Okay, and then later on, agreeable and pleasant. Yeah? She is a nice girl, she's a bit naive and so on, but she's nice, pleasant. Okay, something like that. And then it went the way it did, and, well, turned out to be very positive. Okay, although, as I said before, today it's almost empty. Okay, and this process is continuing, of course. So what conclusion can we draw from this reading of nice? First of all, I refer to literary texts, okay, trying to reconstruct old meanings. And of course, this is mostly the case, that the text that came down to us, and the further back we go in time, the more we have to rely on literary texts, okay? And we should, of course, bear this in mind, because literary texts are full of, I don't know, rhetorics, something like that. So they are not very easy. Should not always be trusted, okay? Because, of course, the author, if he writes a literary text, is playing with words. So bear this in mind. And therefore, it is probably not enough to regard just the isolated phrase. The OED does that. Well, probably they don't have, certainly not enough space. But usually, I mean, you get one phrase, and it's very difficult to reconstruct from this one phrase the meaning it had back then, because, I mean, most of the time you need the whole text. Okay, as I did just with Chaucer, yeah? All right. Or with Romeo and Juliet, okay? So the genre is important. What kind of genre is it? Certainly a word may use completely differently if it is a very tragic text or if it is a comedy. Okay? Yes, something like that. We should know that. And a fabliau, which is about sex, scatology, and all these things, certainly a different text from a sermon. I don't know, to have the most extreme gap here. So the cultural context is important, and of course the function of the text and the function it has in the text and all this. So it's difficult to reconstruct meanings just from written texts, from written literary texts. But we have to do this because this is all we have, particularly for old text. But bear in mind that there are problems. Okay. Oh yeah. Most obviously, and I mentioned that, rhetorics. Okay. Oh yeah. Using oxymora, just for way of, whatever. Okay. All right. Let's stop here. So you probably know what to expect. We will talk about the change of meaning, or meanings. Words, many words. Most of the words have many meanings, not only 1, 2, 3. Whatever, looking at texts. Okay, so yeah, stay tuned.